Hello Oscar, Grandpa here. Granny and Grandpa send their love and hope you're well and have had a good week at school. I know you had a couple of holiday days, I think, so I hope you had lots of fun with your little sister Annabelle, and I hope Mummy and Daddy are okay too. So first of all, guess who this is? Hello Oscar, this is Moosey. Moosey, how are you, Moosey? I'm very well, says Moosey. He's been very good, Oscar. Yeah, so he says hello. Can you call out for Moosey, Oscar? Say hi, Oscar. Hi, Moosey. Yeah. Anyway, you're going to sit down for a minute, Moosey? All right, I'll sit down so I can read. Okay, so let's read a little bit more from the Wild Wolf Pup. Whoa, amazing. There is Zoe and her friends in their concert dress, and Zoe was dressed as a wolf, wasn't she? Whoa, very scary. And they suddenly thought they could hear Shadow howling, and Zoe listened and realised she could hear another howl over the cheery chatter of the crowd, but this one sounded very sad. We've got a few minutes before the concert, she whispered to me. Let's see if we can slip away and go to check that he's okay. His enclosure is only round the corner. She turned to her friends. Back in a minute, she said to Jack and Nicola. I just forgot something I need for the concert. OK, Zoe, don't be long or you'll miss it, said Nicola. Zoe and Meat squeezed through the crowd and ducked down an empty pathway that they knew would take them straight to Shadow. When they reached the enclosure, Zoe used her special necklace to open the gate and slip inside. As soon as the little wolf saw them, he bounded straight over to Zoe Meat, barking happily. Hi, Shadow, said Zoe, kneeling down to hug him. I'm really sorry we couldn't stay yesterday. There's Zoe and Shadow. Look, isn't he sweet? What do you think of my costume? Shadow yapped excitedly, his little tail wagging. Can you wag your tail, Oscar? Oh, no, of course we don't have tails, do we? That'd be fun if we did. Zoe smiled. Thank you. I'm glad you like it, she said. Listen, Shadow, about your family. Don't worry about that because today Zoe is about to explain all about the plan to raise money for Shadow's family to come over to the zoo. But just then she heard the crackle of the loudspeaker again. Wonderful costumes, everyone, came Great Uncle Horace's voice. Now, please make your way to the green in front of the gift shop. It's time for the concert. Just then, Ethan rushed down the path towards the wolf enclosure. Oh, hi, Zoe, he called, sounding surprised to see her. Shouldn't you be over at the concert area now? Shadow whined curiously, wanting to know what was going on. I'll be back as soon as I can, Shadow, I promise, Zoe whispered, then turned to smile shakily at Ethan. She rushed back down the path to join the rest of her class. This was really it. Chapter 8. Howling Halloween. That's great, isn't it, Oscar? Look, do you see little wolf pup howling? Can you howl? I think we did a bit of howling last time, didn't we? Do you want to give a bit of howling again? Don't wake up your sister, though. So, Chapter 8, Howling Halloween. Zoe, there you are, said Miss Hawkins, spotting Zoe and ushering her to her place. We thought you were going to miss it. Zoe's class was standing in two lines, the people in the back line standing on a bench so that they could see. 3 microphones on stands had been set up in front of them, like at a real concert. As Zoe squeezed in between Nicola and Jack, she glanced around nervously and almost wished she had missed it. The zoo was completely full and it seemed like thousands of people were staring right at Zoe, even though she knew it couldn't really be that many. Lucy stepped up to the front, smiling encouragingly at Zoe, and spoke into one of the microphones. Hello everyone, welcome to the Rescue Zoo Halloween Spooktacular, and thank you all very much for coming. As you know, we're raising money tonight so that we can reunite our newest animal with his family. That of course would be Shadow. We thought we would introduce you to him to thank you all for being so generous already. There was a ripple of excitement through the crowd as Ethan brought Shadow to the front and stood next to Lucy. Zoe realised that must have been why Ethan had come over to Shadow's enclosure in such a hurry. Oh wow, he's so cute, Nicola said, grinning at Zoe. This is Shadow, the grey wolf pup, who travelled here all the way from Alaska, Ethan announced. Shadow gave an excited bark and a little howl, and everyone in the crowd laughed. Now please give a special round of applause for Class 3 from our local school who are going to perform a Halloween song, added Lucy. Our zookeepers will be bringing collection buckets round during the song in case you'd like to make a donation. The crowd clapped as Miss Hawkins started the music and Zoe's class took a deep breath. Miss Hawkins had chosen a couple of lines for each pair to sing by themselves. Then they were all supposed to join in together for the chorus. You do that at school, don't you, Oscar, where you sing and then join in with everybody else? And I hope grade 1 is going well at school. That sounds very exciting. So there's the picture of all of Class 3. Look, there's 2 pages of pictures. Whoa! I don't know if I can show that to you very well, but that looks really good. Gemma and Sarita started singing. Spiders and slugs creeping on the wall. Zoe and Nicola were going to be singing together next, and when it got to their line, Zoe felt her knees wobble. Wild grey wolves running through the trees. She began very quietly, hearing Nicola sing much more loudly next to her. Then she heard a little howl. Shadow was joining in. Zoe turned and saw the wolf pup wagging his tail happily and looking straight at her with bright eyes. The crowd chuckled and one little boy said, "They've taught the wolf how to sing along too. That's so clever." Zoe smiled at Shadow, and as the little pup howled happily again, she felt confident enough to sing the next line more loudly. Seeing Shadow right there reminded her why she was singing in the first place, and she really wanted to do her best. That's all you can ever do, Oscar, is you try and do your best. That's a fantastic thing to be able to do. Just try your best, whatever it is. Then it was time for the whole class to sing the chorus, and Shadow burst into an even more enthusiastic howl as he heard the song get louder, and Zoe raised her voice even louder too, grinning wildly. When the song finished, the audience cheered and clapped, and some people even called for them to sing it all over again. Zoe found herself beaming, relieved it was over, but she also realised that she'd enjoyed herself. Singing wasn't so bad if you had friends to sing along with you. I expect you liked singing with your friends too, Oscar. Meep scampered over from where he had perched with Lucy, watching the performance. "Zoe, you did it," he squeaked excitedly, hopping up onto Zoe's shoulder and giving her a cuddle. "Hooray!" Miss Hawkins stepped up to the microphone, then, smiling, "Thank you. If you liked our song, please do make a donation to help us bring Shadow's pack over to the zoo." She pointed to the collection buckets that the zookeepers were still carrying around the crowd. Zoe grinned as she saw people digging into their pockets and putting money into them. Soon they looked very full. Ethan brought Shadow over to Zoe, and she held him carefully in her arms and gave him a hug. "Thanks for your help, Shadow," she whispered in his ear. Shadow rubbed his furry head against Zoe's cheek and barked happily. Zoe laughed. "Howling with your pack is your favourite thing," she said. "Now I understand why you've been howling so much and why you wanted to join in with our singing." Because, of course, Shadow was thinking he was with his family and where they all howled together. So it was rather like a family when he howled with Class 3 with their singing. "Who's that?" asked Jack, nudging Zoe as someone dressed in a bright blue bird costume stepped up to the microphone. Zoe frowned and then started laughing as she realised who it was and who he'd come as. "That's Great Uncle Horace," she explained through a laugh. "I think he's dressed as a giant version of his pet hyacinth macaw, Kiki." There we are. There's Great Uncle Horace dressed as Kiki. "That was splendid. Well done to all of you," exclaimed Great Uncle Horace. "Now it's time to announce the prize for the best costume. This was a very hard decision, but I have picked a winner. This person will be invited to come to the rescue zoo and help feed our fantastic penguins. And the winner is..." He paused dramatically and then smiled. "The zombie ballerina over here. Congratulations." Nicola's eyes almost popped out of her head. She was so surprised. "I won," she gasped. "I get to come and feed the penguins. I can't believe it." "Now I have another announcement to make," Great Uncle Horace continued. I'm delighted to say that it looks as if we'll have raised enough money from this evening to fly the rest of Shadow's pack to the rescue zoo to be looked after here alongside him. Thank you all for being so generous. You are all invited back to the zoo to meet the whole pack once they are happily settled into their new home. The audience cheered and clapped. Zoe felt a huge grin spreading over her face and cuddled Shadow even closer. "Did you hear that, Shadow?" she whispered. "Your family are coming to the rescue zoo. Soon you'll all be able to howl together again. Shall we have another little howl, Oscar?" "Howl!" I think you did pretty well there. The little wolf yapped happily and jumped up and down excitedly. "Now, please enjoy the rest of your evening," said Great Uncle Horace. "We have a grown homemade gingerbread stall that way. There's apple bobbing over there. Over that way is the pin the tail on the wolf stand. And if you would like to find out more about any of our wonderful animals, please ask one of our zookeepers who will be delighted to help. Happy Halloween, everyone." Ooh! The air was filled with howls as Zoe and Meep raced through the zoo towards Shadow's enclosure. But this time they knew those howls didn't belong just to Shadow. It was 3 weeks later, and today was the day that Shadow's pack arrived at the rescue zoo. Wow, Oscar, that's exciting. Great Uncle Horace had sent a message to Lucy using his walkie-talkie, just as Lucy and Zoe were finishing their breakfast. "The helicopter is about to land outside Shadow's enclosure. Tell Zoe to meet us there," he'd said. So Zoe and Meep were running as fast as they possibly could. The whole zoo had seen the helicopter circling over the zoo before it landed, and Zoe heard animals all around her making their most friendly, welcoming noises. "Yes, they're really here," Zoe called happily to the excited chimpanzees, who called out to her as she passed their enclosure. Isn't it brilliant? Zoe and Meep rushed around the corner just as Great Uncle Horace and Ethan were carrying 2 large wooden crates into the wolf enclosure. The eager howling sound was coming from inside the crates, and Shadow was leaping all over his enclosure, barking excitedly, his tail wagging so fast it was almost a blur. Carefully, Ethan opened the first crate, and a wolf with dark grey markings on his side, a bit bigger than Shadow, ran out. He bounded straight over to Shadow, and the 2 wolves nuzzled each other happily, then began to play fight. "That must be Shadow's big brother," Zoe whispered to Meep. Both wolves howled together, and then as Ethan opened the second crate, they were joined by another wolf and 2 adorable babies. They nuzzled each other and made soft, howling noises. "Meep, I think I understand what this howling means," Zoe added. "Shadow and his family are happy to be back together." "I'm happy too," squealed Meep, bouncing up and down. "And I'm glad Shadow has his family to play with now, instead of tiny little me." Zoe giggles. "I can't wait to meet them all," she said. "And I can't wait to meet whatever animal Great Uncle Horace brings home next." So that's the end of that story, the Wild Wolf Pup. Look, there's Zoe and his brothers. And oh look, there they all are meeting one another. And there's Zoe in the background. And they've come all the way from Alaska to England. That's a long way, isn't it? Isn't that exciting, Oscar? Well, there it is. I will be looking forward to reading you again. And so will Moosey. And I thought I would let you know in advance that we will be reading the next time The Puzzled Penguin. I know you like penguins, so that will be fun. And I love the work you've been doing at school. Daddy sent me all that you've been doing, and I think you're really clever, Oscar, and I'm so pleased that you're doing good work and enjoying yourself. So have a lovely time, lots of fun with the family until Monday, and I hope you're feeling well. And it's love from me, love from Granny, to all of you. Big hugs, like I'll give Moosey a big hug for you, and lots of love from Moosey too. Is that right, Moosey? Yep, that's right. Yep, that's right. Okay, so it's goodbye from me, goodbye from Granny, and goodbye from Moosey. Bye for now. Lots of love, Oscar. Bye.